Hi, and welcome to lesson number 4 in module number 1 about idea development, where we will be discussing resource analysis and how you should approach analyzing your resources to map out how you stand compared to your competition. So, do you have resources that makes you unique? This is something we want you to get an understanding in, because if you have resources that makes you unique, you have you'll have a competition advantage, or you will have an advantage over your competition in your market, because if you have something that makes you unique, you stand out from the crowd. And if you stand out from the crowd, people or customers will see you and most likely approach and try your products. In order to analyzing to see if you have something of value, or if you have resources that makes you unique, or unique resources, we will be using something I call the RIM model. And the RIM model is a model that is used to analyze resources. And the RIM model is used to, or actually stands for rare, important, inimitable, and mobilized, and is a way to analyze resources to see if they provide any advantages to you compared to your competition. So by using this model, you will get an overview over how you stand compared to your competition in the same market, to the job, or how you stand compared to your rival substitutes and non-substitutes when it comes to the job, the formats, and niche. So let's get into what the different actually mean. So when analyzing, or actually rare, let's go through the different letters or the different parts. So rare is if few people have it. If you have a rare resource, then it should be limited. It should be finite. And let's take an example of natural resources. Let's take diamonds. Diamonds is rare, and they are also, since they're rare, high in value. And the thing is, with having a rare resource, the price will go up, and since it's finite, you will also not be able to reproduce it quickly. So by having a rare, but if you have a resource that is rare, that would mean that you will have an advantage over your competition unless they invest a lot of resources into acquiring the same rare resource that you have. So when it comes to rare, few people have to have it, or as few people as possible should have access to that resource. The next thing is the resource important for daily operations? Having a resource or many resources are not important for daily operations, but when it comes to actually providing an advantage, a competition advantage, you want the resources that is important for operations, but also which is rare. And the next one is inimitable, which means hard to copy. You don't want resources that people can copy in the blink of an eye, because then the resource wouldn't be valuable, really. Because if people could print it as paper, then they could just copy it and that you would be on equal ground. So finding something that is hard to copy, as an example, would be a patent, or something, or a trademark, or anything of that sort which is copywritten, which you have copyright to, it will be hard to copy, and people can't just reproduce what you have. So that's important. And it is also important that it is a resource that can be mobilized, which means it is leveraged and used on a daily basis or in operations. So, but there is something, because if you have something which is rare but not important, not inimitable, or not mobilized, it doesn't perform or it doesn't provide you any real advantage. So it is talk about it is a combination of all of these that actually provide any type of value. So when you look for resources or analyze your current situation, and you can also analyze your competition's situation with these four factors, but you want to use it to get an overview of how you stand compared to others. And when you do this type of analysis, you don't want to just check off and say, okay, this resource is rare, it is not important, but it is inimitable, but it is also not so much, so it's not mobilized. You don't want to use a yes or no scale. You want to use a scale from 1 to 5, where 1 is low or equals no, and 5 is high or equals yes. Because the world is not black and white. So you want to create a scale, but you can also use a scale from 1 to 3. I don't prefer that one. But you could use the scale from 1 to 5 or 1 to 7 or 1 to 10 to really spread it out to get as specific or as specific calculation as possible. So let's take an example. So Google resource analyst for 3 factors: brand, competence, and HQ location. So let's talk about the brand. Google's brand is rare. There are not a lot of people that have the same brand strength as Google. And their brand is also fairly important, or it is really important, because the brand makes them legit. Brand is also something that, in most cases, it is not easy to copy, so it's inimitable. And Google also leverages the brand that they have, or Google is actually a sub-firm or sub-business for Alphabet. So Alphabet mobilize Google's brand in their marketing and in daily operations. So you can say that Google's brand definitely provides them with an advantage over their competition. Now over to competence. Okay, Google sits with a lot of people and with knowledge that is rare, but you can also find this type of competence elsewhere. It is important, definitely is important, because the competence that they have is the source that develops the ideas that they come up with. It is also inimitable because you can't copy people. You can't just say, okay, you have to teach that guy all you know. And they also mobilize it because they develop products and ideas and solutions every single day. So they mobilize the competence that they have, and competence is really important because that's the brain power that Google has. The headquarters location, however, doesn't provide them that high of an advantage. Okay, it is rare. There are in Silicon Valley, and but there are a lot of people in the same location. It is important for them because it's a sales aspect about it. So people want to come to Silicon Valley and work with Google, and not only because the location in the country is good, but also because the facilities is appealing. It isn't imitable because people can copy it and just, if you were to visit Google as an architect, you could create something similar right off the bat. It is partly mobilized, but we can we can say that the headquarters location doesn't provide so much of a competition advantage as their brand or competence. But they stand on equal ground with other companies, but it doesn't provide any real advantage. So when you do a resource analysis, you want to map out both rare, important, imitable, and mobilized for different aspects, but something to keep in mind, which is an important aspect, and you only want to analyze resources that has the potential to provide a lasting advantage, that gives an advantage, and can make a change. Because a company or a business has a lot of different resources, but all resources aren't important. And you only want to analyze resources that actually can make a change or make an impact. And if you start analyzing all the different resources that the business has, then you will have your head in the sand for a lot longer than you actually can afford. Because the resource analysis is made or is used to get a quick overview over how you stand compared to others, and not used for, or this actually depends on the size of your business. If you have several thousand workers or people working in your business compared to a small one, a big company has more resources and can use time, money, and people on actually doing these analyses when it comes to competition analysis and resource analysis and all of that. But a smaller company, if you're an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, you want to use the resource analysis as a quick way to map out your current states or how you stand compared to others. And then you only want to analyze resources that actually can make an impact and a change, give you an advantage or a lasting advantage. And it is said that a market changes each 6 months. So after half a year or after a year, a market has changed 2 times. And that's what's also why it is important, or why I recommend people to do the quick research analysis once in a while, because as the market changes, technology changes, businesses change, and it isn't sure, you can't be sure that your competition is today is the same as it was 6 months ago or 12 months ago or a year, 2 years, because as technology and markets change, they change with it. And in order to be able to compete, you have to acquire resources that give you an advantage, or at least make you on equal grounds with your competition. So this was the aspects and the things you need to think about, and how you can do a resource analysis with the RIM model. And it is important to keep in mind, again, I can't stress it enough, that you want, or you only analyze resources that can provide a lasting advantage, give you an advantage, and make a change, actually make an impact. So scroll down below this video, and since this is the last video in module 1, idea development, you have a quiz. I want you to take scroll down and start the test for the module, so that you can verify that you have completed all 4 modules. And bear in mind, depending on your performance or the performance you do or show in the test will have an effect later on using the platform. So make sure that you have understood all lessons in the module so that you can perform the best in the test ahead.